Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my April 2024 page 112 tag video. The page 112 tag was brought to BookTube by Sean at Sean the Book Maniac. The purpose of this tag is it's based off of a French literary prize wherein the long list of said prize is comprised of books that are chosen by reading solely page 112 of these novels in contention, which is usually about midway through a novel. And it's supposed to be past all of the polished for editors pages as well. And the point of that is, without the context of the rest of the story, you can only judge the book based on the quality of the writing. So I've been using this tag since COVID to slowly whittle down my physical unread shelves and build them back up again. I randomly draw 3 pieces of paper out of this Books and Cats mug. The pieces of paper all have titles on them of books I've acquired in 2023 or earlier. So every month I sit down, I pull out my 3 pieces of paper, I go ahead and first read the books pages to myself to get a feel of them, and then share them with you before finally choosing one of the books to add to my month's TBR. This is one of my rare ways of trying to be spontaneous with my reading. I have a playlist of my TBR games down below, and otherwise a lot of my reading I'm very regimented about and pick well in advance. But yeah, now we get to the fun, spontaneous part. So without further ado, I'm gonna go pick out my pieces of paper. Starting with book number 1. Another thing I should say though is how much I can cheat sometimes, or like to cheat, because right now I'm thinking about how I'm reading for the BookTube prize, and I'm still kind of sort of hoping I could read 12 books this month, so something short would be really nice. But then again, pretty much everything in here is about the same size, so who knows. But is that one piece? Oh, these stick together so much. Okay, yeah, this is one. All right. If You Want to Make God Laugh by Bianca Marais. This is a title that I've played with before, which means I already have clips made up and it's less post-production for me. But anyway, I bought this book a couple years ago from East City Books, a local DC bookstore, because I was listening to Bianca Marais on her podcast, The Shit No One Tells You About Writing, which is a great craft podcast for fiction writers. And so I went ahead and I wanted to look at her own books and see which one appealed to me most, and this was the one. And now I can look at it again. All right, now going for book number 2. It would be nice to get a little variety. A lot of these are sort of the same kind of general fiction genre, but maybe I haven't played with it before, or maybe I got it at a different time, but we shall see. So is this 1? Yes, this looks like 1. Okay. Revival Season by Monica West. I am pretty sure I have not played with this one before, and I'm pretty sure I got it from my used library bookstore last summer. So yeah, and I believe this is one that I probably heard about through the Book Riot podcasts, and it is about a black church-going family, I think, and about that culture. I guess I'll find out. Okay, and finally, for book number 3, I already have something new, I have something old, maybe another genre if I could find it, or I'll just go for something short would be good, but anyway, I'll just go with what's in my hand. Alrighty. And what's in my hand is Evening by Nessa Rappaport, which is another book I've played with before, and I believe I picked it up from a pop-up bookstore, I think it was, a couple of years ago, maybe the Carpe Librum bookstore. Yeah, it's sort of, I think this one I found through the Jewish Book Council website, so there's some nominal Jewish content in it. I'm not sure how much I like that page 112 tag, but I guess I'll have to revisit it now and see what I think of it anew. Okay, you've seen me pick out all three of these books. Now I'm going to go ahead, read them, and collect my thoughts, and then get back to you in a jiffy. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back with my three books and eager to share with you. Starting with book number 1, If You Want to Make God Laugh by Bianca Murray. Laletti rolls over, her eyes glazed with fever. The pillow is stained red. She groans and then closes her eyes again. Mama, wake up. Laletti's eyes open again and seek Zadwa's, though when they meet it feels as if Laletti is looking right through her. Where is the baby? The corners of Laletti's mouth twitch upward. Demisa, my son, is that you? Dread washes over Zadwa. Her mother is clearly delirious, and who knows what a person in her state might have done. No, it's me, Zadwa, your daughter, Zadwa says, shaking her gently. Where is my baby, Mama? Baby? The ghost of a smile disappears. Yes, the baby. Don't you remember? Where is he? Where is my son? Laletti's eyes widen in what appears to be a moment of clarity. She opens her mouth to answer, and Zadwa strains forward to hear what her mother will say. I took him. She stumbles over the words. You took the baby? Zadwa prompts, trying to keep her voice calm despite her rising panic. You took him where? He is gone. Gone? Gone where, Mama? What did you do with him? I did it for you, Laletti answers, and for him. What? What did you do? Laletti seems to consider the question, but before she can answer, her eyes roll back as she begins convulsing. Okay, so this page I feel like is quite obviously the end of a chapter, as you can see here. And I think Murray quite deliberately ended it on, a dramatic note to get you to keep reading, although it seems like perhaps we're going on to the next chapter might be a new character named Ruth. But anyway, yeah, I feel like that's kind of heavy end of chapter drama. And, we have very little context for what's going on. I mean, obviously that's true all the time, but there's not a lot happening on this page. It, I think, explains pretty clearly, though, that the mother seems to have some sort of medical issue, and that's why Zadwa believes that the mother has gotten rid of her son. And we don't know any other context for, why this might have happened, why the mother might have felt justified other than perhaps illness, but I would assume there's more going on in this book as well. And I think on its surface it just feels a little dramatic for dramatic's sake, and with more context it would feel less dramatic for dramatic's sake. The fact that, of course, the mother is convulsing right as she might be able to spill the beans about what she did with the boy. But, if we had been with the characters and the mother had been getting, worse and worse, that wouldn't seem so convenient, I don't think. So I feel like this one kind of suffers from, a page 112 that's like just a little less going on and is quite deliberately a dramatic moment to, get tension moving. And I do think the tension actually was really nice on this page. Like, the stuttering dialogue and Zadwa leaning forward to hear her and like trying to keep the panic out. I mean, it's just like the rising tension of, what happened to the boy and are we going to find out, and, and racing against time for whatever's happening with the mother, or if the mother will tell her. But overall, I feel like it isn't as grabby on its own. I think I'm going to put this one down for now, but obviously I'm looking forward to ultimately getting to it. Book number 2 is Revival Season by Monica West, which I actually have to read with you now in the present. In public, Papa started preaching about the nature of suffering and the mystery of God's ways, while in private he announced that no one in the family could come to the altar for a healing. As Hannah grew, Papa inched away from her, at first emotionally and then physically. Now that she was 8, all of her tasks had been delegated to me and Ma. Papa was only around when she celebrated big achievements, clapping in the corner of the room when she took her first steps with orthotics and crutches, but then receding into the house when the celebration ended. For Papa, looking at Hannah must have been like staring failure in the face, realizing that the dark shape that he had always feared had eyes and teeth, was more human than spirit. As the unearthed memory of Hannah merged with the pregnant girl last summer and the blind man in Bethel, I looked over at Ma, who was still watching my jumpy leg. She placed her hand over mine, and I let her steady pressure subdue me. "This should be a good day, Miriam. Your father just healed your best friend, but you look like you're carrying the weight of the world." The love song to God on the radio ended, and Ma turned up the volume on an updated version of Amazing Grace. She sang with lightness that I envied, all while tapping a slow beat on my knee. "I'm okay," I said as the song ended, "and it is a good day." Then there's a break. The next night, Papa arrived home from the hospital with buoyancy in his steps. Ma rushed to greet him and took his briefcase before he could close the door. And that is a weird place to have a break at the very end of my page 112, which kind of disrupts the flow of the page a little bit. But overall, I really like this. I do feel like I'm perhaps made biased by the fact that I understand that this book is about an evangelical family, although I don't think I said that specifically before, so that I kind of clued in quickly, and I guess there were clues on the page too, about the father and what he's preaching is like miracles and magic in a way and salvation. But when he says that his family can't go up for those miracles, you know there's something he wants to hide. And you can tell from this page, you know, it doesn't come out and say explicitly what's wrong with Hannah, the little 8-year-old girl, but maybe it's something with her legs, and that he can't, and doesn't even seem to believe he can, heal her. And that's what makes him pull away from her as well. So, you know, that's just a poignant example of something of, I guess, you know, human complexities and flaws on the page, and then how it easily segues into our main character, Miriam, and what seems like a loss of faith for her, that because of what's happening between her father and her sister, I assume, she is kind of losing that faith, even though her mother is trying to draw her back into it, and her father seems to still be performing miracles or what have you. So yeah, I think that, you know, in a way, the microcosm of what I think this book is about is right here on the page, and it draws me in. And finally, book 3 is Evening by Nessa Rappaport, which actually is not from Carpe Librum. It is from my used library bookstore because of the green sticker. Part of me is mocking the pathos of my return, but irony is extinguished by desire, which will not be tamped down by any paltry appeal to reason. The club dims until Laurie is a wraith, shadowed hair, gleaming eye, mouth engraved. He is dark, but I am ablaze, as if I have guzzled light, the reincarnation of first love compounded by grief. The last set begins. After a single chord, I recognize the song Laurie played for me in his room the night our friendship alchemized into love. An anarchy of refusal electrifies my body, scalp to soul, defying all the chastening elders who relish denunciation, who issue their trivializing edicts about maturity and acceptance and compromise. I do not have to listen to you. Don't do it, says Tam, or you. The lead singer takes the mic. It was homeward bound one night on the deep. Laurie sets down his glass. The singer wails, I dreamed a dream and thought it true. Laurie's fingers cross the dented metal of the table. Between my legs is a metronome of coveting. Stand, it says, I stand. Move, it says, and I move. Okay, so I have a more complicated, I guess, reaction to this one. I feel like I want to like this, you know, type of writing that's so sort of full of itself. Maybe that really says it all, that I really do feel like most of the phrasing in here is just style over substance, although I do like, you know, what is it? The night our friendship alchemized into love. I'll give you that one. I did like that one. But otherwise, I feel like she's dancing around the issue with these vagaries to try to say that, you know, these feelings are so emotional or whatever. But unlike the other two stories, which this one also seems to be about a relationship, I assume what I can glean from this is a relationship with Laurie. They're at a club. They're listening to music while he, you know, sitting at a table. Together, and that she might be responding to him as the music goes and his hand goes, that sort of thing. But it's also internal and interior, all of her thoughts. It's not about, most of it is not explaining anything specific or, detailed about what happened to them tangibly in the real world. It's all about her feelings and desires, and how there's authority figures that are telling her she would be immature, I guess, and this Tam person we don't know, but obviously that's not fair to be too judgmental about not knowing him or her. Or I want to, I wonder if I read the whole story, I might have gotten more invested in this type of writing and understood it better, but certainly on its own, it really just doesn't stand up. There's just not a lot to intrigue you about what's happening on the page, because really it's all happening in this character's head, and it's just really too vague to be intriguing. It's interesting because sometimes I feel like I'm judging too much exposition in the other stories, like, well, this is a convenient show of exposition, but at the same time, it certainly makes the stories approachable and immediately interesting, whereas this one doesn't have that. So I think I'm going to set this one down. And we're back in the present again. Hello. And I did say earlier I wanted to give this book another chance, even though, what I'm sharing in the video is what I filmed earlier. And I have to admit, part of me wants to like these beautiful phrases, but at the same time, I am frustrated by the style over substance stuff, that there's not, characters in a story really to latch onto here. And so with some reluctance, I think I'm going to put this book down first. I'm especially reluctant because it is the shortest of the 3 books as well. But at the same time, that means I'm playing by the real rules of the tag, so huzzah. And that leaves my choice between these 2 books, If You Want to Make God Laugh and Revival Season. And again, I was critical in the old clip of this book, although I was intrigued and remain intrigued by the idea of what happened to this baby and why, which just isn't in context on the page. But I do feel like there's a fair bit of promise with this story. But in comparison to this one, there was a lot on the page that immediately grabbed me about the interesting themes the book could be about. So I believe what I will do for April is I will be putting Revival Season on my TBR. And hopefully I will enjoy going on this crisis of faith along with Miriam. And that about covers it for me now. I will leave the Goodreads links for all 3 of these books listed down below, as well as the link to my TBR game playlist and to the bookstores that I got these books from in the past. And another thing I like to do on these outro sections is shout out another booktuber who is engaging in a TBR game or a readathon, because it's a nice way to feel like part of the community and prop someone up for doing something creative. So this month I'm going to go with, and this month I'm going to highlight, I think, Shelves of Books, nice little pun there, and her TBR vending machine that she uses to pick out books for her to be read pile. And what she does is she has this little vending machine where you have little marbles inside, where she wrote down numbers on each marble, and there's a lever you can pull, and a little marble will come out, and she'll, use the number on that marble to fulfill a prompt for the books. And so I just thought that was really cute to, think of that sort of machine and be able to use it in a TBR game. And she has a cool list of prompts as well, so I will link to her playlist down below. As for me, I am definitely through with adding books to my April TBR. I am not really positive I can get to all 12 that are now on the TBR. We will have to see. And it is time to get to reading. So the next time you will see me on this channel will be for my next Am Reading update video, so stay tuned. I certainly hope I'll have some good stuff to talk about. And I hope you are all enjoying your reading as well, as you pick out what you want to read, however you want to do it. And thank you so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you next time.